Hello everybody, welcome back to Expedition Homestead. I'm super excited for this video because I'm going to give you all an update on the biggest willow tree cutting that we've ever planted and probably the biggest willow tree cutting that you've ever seen planted. We've gotten a lot of requests lately for this video, so I'm extremely excited for it. Well, we planted this in the ground 41 days ago. And it is doing so well right now, despite a few hiccups along the way. We've got some great growth coming from it all throughout this entire cutting, and I think it's going to make an incredible little bonsai willow here in the backyard. So I said we had a couple of hiccups along the way when we planted this thing. A few days after we put it into the ground, we got a really harsh cold snap. We actually saw temperatures of about 28 degrees, believe it or not. So we had some sections of this freeze off. And all of the growth that I had on it when it was growing as a cutting in the basement, all that new growth that we had in the basement, that stuff died off. And I basically cut it all off and allowed the nodes to grow new branches from it. That's why we see such thick growth throughout the entire willow cutting right here. Everything has bounced back so well, and this kind of illustrates how proficient willow trees are and how hardy they are as well. They're very resilient plants. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be forming this into more of like a bonsai willow tree. I don't want this to become a giant 50-foot willow tree in our backyard or anything like that. I'm going to keep this trimmed down to a maximum height of maybe like 12 feet if we even get that high. But as you can see right here, we're kind of creating platforms. I've got one here, one here. Then I'm going to prune this up and cut this stuff back so we start creating a couple of different platforms higher up on this willow tree. So we're going to kind of localize a lot of this growth and shape it and prune it to whatever way we so desire. I've always thought willow trees were fun to do this to, and for one main reason. It's because they grow so fast, they're so hardy, they're very forgiving, and not a lot of other people do it this way. So that's why I thought it would be a lot of fun. As you can tell right now, it just looks so great back here. I'm very excited for this year's growth that we've got and the few years after that too. These things grow really fast. We've got it growing along our back area of the yard here where we've got a pear tree, a whole bunch of sunflowers on one side, a couple of smaller willows. There's a little willow tree there. There's a willow tree there. Then we've got a wine sap apple tree and another row of sunflowers. So when this stuff starts to grow in, I think it's going to be really beautiful. I mean, the whole backyard and the vegetable garden is also doing well. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you stick around and subscribe if you like this content, because we've got a ton of stuff coming all about these veggies, and we've already made a ton of videos on them so far this year. So you guys can go over to the channel and get caught up on all that stuff. And chickens as well. As it stands right now, this willow tree is almost 4.5 feet tall. And if you've ever asked yourself if you could take a giant willow cutting, you definitely can. Feel free to do it and experiment. That's one of the biggest things that I push when it comes to gardening is experimentation and having fun, because let's face it, there's a million ways that we can garden and grow plants, but the greatest way, the single greatest way that we can garden is the way that is most enjoyable and fun for ourselves. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you're having an incredible spring and beginning to your summer so far. Happy gardening, and I hope to see you all in the next episode.